Okay, hi. This is segment 4. And what I'll probably do is do social penetration theory and maybe the reinforcement theories on this segment, and then I'll have a fifth segment which will be social exchange theories. Social penetration theory is a social exchange theory. Just like the last two theories I said we would talk about, um, uh, re, I'm sorry, social interdependence theory and equity theory. Social penetration theory, equity theory, and interdependence theory are all under the umbrella of social exchange theories. There are actually two reinforcement theories. They're just really similar, but there's actually two of them. So I guess when I had said there were four theories, there's really five, but I kind of count reinforcement theory as just one. Social exchange theory is a broad um, category. There's probably several dozen social exchange theories that are just, slightly different from each other. Basically, it's like basic economics 101 or pre 101, really. It's, basically you can't spend more than you make. You evaluate your relationship in terms of what you're getting out of it, what you're putting into it, that sort of thing. Social exchange, in other words, are like just like a business, the ratio between profits versus spending. Congress never ever got this concept, because if they did, we would not have a deficit in the absolute trillions. Seriously, we wouldn't. They spend more than they make. Businesses go under if they spend more than they make. It's sort of the same thing with relationships. So there are three social exchange relationships I'm going to talk about. And again, just think of the key that glues them, or the glue that binds them all together. And that is this idea that is your relationship worth it, or is it not worth it? Again, looking at a business, the cost versus the rewards getting out of it. So if you can kind of think of it in those terms like a business, I think these theories will make more sense. And again, try to think of it. If I start giving examples of romantic relationships, it's because I'm so tired. I've been up for about 36 hours. So I'm probably a little incoherent at this point, but I definitely want to get through this. It's only 2:30 now. Yeah, it's only about 2:30. So I want to get through this and maybe catch an hour or two of sleep before I have to get up. So, okay, social penetration theory, Steve Duck. I think I mentioned that at the end of segment 3. Again, rewards versus cost. Now, social penetration theory has been nicknamed, social penetration theory has been nicknamed the onion theory, because the best analogy to describe this theory is literally like peeling away the onions. Think of that in terms of getting to know someone in a romantic relationship or in a friendship. We're going to try to focus on friendship, since that's what the movie Rain Man is about. Two brothers creating a friendship. Social penetration theory says that any type of relationship is like peeling away the layers of an onion. Okay, so you start with the skin, and then you peel away. Sometimes you peel away several layers before you get to the good part of the onion that you can actually chop. But let's forget about chopping. Let's just say that we're peeling and peeling and peeling. Okay? That's probably the best analogy to describe social penetration theory and friendships. Okay, what this is based on, remember, it's a social exchange theory, and social exchange theories say that we weigh rewards versus costs. So what we're doing is we're going to talk about increasing our friendship in terms of rewards and cost, And the key in this theory is the word self-disclosure. Self-disclosure, according to Steve Duck, is what really makes two people grow in their relationship/friendship. The more you disclose personal information about yourself, the closer you become to that person, because you're putting more trust in that person, and in doing so, you're becoming more vulnerable. Okay. If you don't believe me, pick up any tabloid in the supermarkets, and whether it's the Kardashians and Kris and Bruce Jenner fighting, or it used to be George Bush and Laura Bush. I don't think so much when they were in the White House, but I think after they left the White House, every other day they were getting a divorce. And Hollywood couples, they get really, really bitter when they're separated or getting a divorce, and that's because they start telling intimate secrets about the other person to the press, to the tabloids, and they're breaking that trust, that confidentiality. So the point is, whenever you're developing a friendship or relationship, the more intimate details you disclose, the closer you feel. Now, I know some people, again, in general, this is not true, but some people will pretty much disclose anything to anyone at any time. I don't want to say that's not normal, because I don't really know what normal is. I don't think any of us does, but that's not typical. Yes, there are some people like that, but in general, we typically do not disclose our deep dark secrets, whether we've had a drug problem, a drinking problem, a cutting self-mutilation problem, whatever it is, STIs, whatever really personal information we have about ourselves. There's stuff that we just don't disclose to just anybody. And we don't disclose to people who are just becoming our friend or our romantic partner. It probably takes a long time before we start disclosing that. But once we do, again, it's like peeling away the onion. The surface layer is kind of the superficial stuff that we will tell to, almost anyone who is our acquaintance. Our major, our interests, our hobbies, what car we drive, where we live, those kinds of things that, well, maybe where we live is maybe a couple of layers down, but it's certainly not as intimate as revealing, really, really deep, dark secrets like STIs or, this person had an abortion or whatever. Those kinds of things you probably don't reveal until you feel that you really trust the person, and you feel closer, and you're okay with being vulnerable. Or at least, at least you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Okay, so that's what it is. Basically, we are disclosing more and more information that's personal, and as we're doing so, we're peeling away the layers of that onion. So the topics, in talking about self-disclosure, the topics are broad at first. I mean, geez, we probably talk to the supermarket cashier or, the bank teller. We probably talk about the weather. You may say hi on campus to somebody, hey, how's that test going? Or, how'd you do on that project? It's kind of superficial stuff. As we become closer and closer to somebody and gain their trust, we trust them, we become more vulnerable to the other person, we disclose more intimate personal details until we are truly bearing our soul, which is that core of the onion, to the other person. The reason we do this is because we trust the other person, and we are attempting to create that intimacy that goes beyond just superficial things. Okay, does that make sense? So social penetration is like penetrating an onion. The deeper we go in, the less we're talking about the superficial kinds of subjects like the weather. I think there's only so much you can say about the weather. There's only so many times you can talk about your major. There's only so many times you can talk about football or, you know, last night's Ravens game or whatever it is. But we start revealing things about our childhood, about our parents, about our family, about our friends. And as we go deeper and deeper and pull away those layers, it's deeper subjects and less breadth of subject. You know, we don't discuss those broad kinds of things anymore. We're discussing more intimate things. Does that make sense? That, in a nutshell, is social penetration theory. Okay. If this were an interpersonal communication class, we would learn the 8 stages and that sort of thing. Excuse me. But we're not. And so we're not gonna go over that. Okay. We are not going to talk about slides, let's see, 10, 11, 12, and 13. Okay. Hold on a second. 10, 11, 12, and 13. We're not going to talk about those. We're going to skip over those just in the interest of time, because we want to focus on theories that are really going to bring us into the relationship that's developing in the film that we watch. Okay. All right. We're going to move on. It says on slide 14, I believe it is, that there are 2 kinds of relational theories, at least that we're going to talk about. Excuse me again. One is reinforcement, and there's actually 2 reinforcement theories, and they're named after the scholars who championed those theories, who basically invented or created those theories. And then there's 2 social exchange theories: interpersonal, interdependence theory, and equity theory. But I want you to understand that social exchange is a broad topic, just like reinforcement. There's plenty of other reinforcement theories. We're going to only talk about 2. There's probably at least 24 social exchange theories. We're only going to talk about 3. We've already talked about social penetration. Okay, so there's interdependence and equity, and they both fall under the category of social exchange. But we're going to table that for a second and move on to reinforcement theories. Okay, there's 2 reinforcement theories. They're basically Byrne and Clore's reinforcement effect model, and then there's Lott and Lott. And Lott and Lott's reinforcement model really is called Lott and Lott's reinforcement model. Excuse me. But the original, one of the first reinforcement theories is Byrne and Clore's reinforcement effect model. Okay? I mentioned on slide 15 that this came out of behavioralist thinking and psychology. And basically, a lot of you probably know this, even if you don't know the label, you understand that in general, the psychology behind parenting has drastically changed in the last 70, 80 plus years. Okay? It used to be basically spare the rod, spoil the child, you know, the old proverb, which kind of, I think that is actually out of Proverbs from the Bible. But it's also an adage that's been around for centuries and centuries. You know, we punish children for doing bad. But we don't really reward them for doing good. When you're dealing with autism and other kinds of behavioral problems with children, ADHD, and just other issues, in the last certainly 50, 60 years, psychologists push positive reinforcement. Low on the negative. Certainly not beating a child or, you know, anything like that. Some people still have that philosophy, and that stems from their religious beliefs. And I'm not here to judge, I'm just here to explain behavioralist thinking. But out of this behavioralist thinking came positive reinforcement. And this really is common sense when you think about it. We reward kids when they do something really good. We don't reward them when they don't. Okay? Kind of really, really minimizing the punishment, because the focus isn't on, beating the kid every time he does something wrong. The focus is really the opposite, really praising and rewarding the kid when she does something right. Okay? Think about this in terms of a growing friendship or relationship. Byrne and Clore basically said in their reinforcement effect model, says that we like people who reward us, and we dislike people who don't reward us, just like children, right? Children respond, according to research, they respond much more favorably toward positive reinforcement. So over and over again, encouraging the child, praising the child when she or he does something right, that's positive reinforcement. I mean, my gosh, we do that with animals, right? If anybody who's ever trained a dog or cat, which I don't know that cats can be trained. I have an ex-fiance who truly believed that cats could be potty trained. And, well, I could tell you the whole story about how out of 4 bathrooms, we ended up only having 1 usable one because we had litter and cellophane taped over toilet seats in the other bathrooms. It's a long story. I don't know that cats are trainable, but dogs are, right? And you send a dog to obedience school or to a trainer, or you train the dog yourself, and you know that a dog's going to learn to sit, lie down, jump, bark, shake hands, shake paws, whatever, and then you give the dog a treat. You reward that dog. And not to say that dogs and kids are equivalent, but we kind of do that thing with kids. Well, in relationships, it's the same thing. Now, the rewards, though, are different. The rewards are not dog biscuits. The rewards are not, stickers for a child, or, a treat, a special treat, a lollipop, or getting to watch TV, or getting to play video games, or, whatever the reward is. It's not that. The reward is, something from the other person. Just maybe spending time with the other person, or, whether it's spending time with the other person or actually getting something out of it physically. Maybe, they spend money on you. They say girls like flowers and roses and so forth. And, the gentleman caller who courts the female and brings her, I don't know if they do candy and roses anymore, but, the flowers or whatever, that kind of gesture. That's what we're talking about, rewards. Or he takes her out to dinner. And I know I'm speaking in stereotypes because I'm kind of speaking in terms of the man taking charge and rewarding the female. Okay, I don't want to mislead you, because it can absolutely be the other way around, whereas a female rewarding a male. Maybe she buys him tickets to his favorite, sports game, buys him Raven tickets or something. Or maybe she buys him a case of his favorite beer. I think a lot of guys would probably like that. That's a reward. So those are tangible things, but like the non-tangible things might be spending time with the other person. It might be intimacy. It might be sex. It could be a number of things that we're considering rewards. So you really have to think, what are the rewards and benefits of this particular relationship? When we watch Rain Man, it's sort of your job to figure out what the rewards are, especially for Charlie Babbitt as he pursues this relationship with his autistic brother. Okay, let me say that again. When we're thinking about reinforcement and Byrne and Clore's reinforcement model, I want you to think of Charlie Babbitt, who is played by Tom Cruise, and I want you to think of what kinds of rewards he believes he's getting out of his relationship, his growing relationship with his brother. Okay? To move on to slide 16, well, between 15 and 16, Byrne and Clore said again, we like people who reward us. Again, using reward in terms of relationship, friendship, rewards. We like people who reward us. We don't like people who don't reward us. But he actually made a further prediction, Byrne did. He said that we will like people more if we believe that their attitudes are similar to ours. This should sound like one of the concepts in a previous slide, in one of the previous segments, where we talked about attitude similarity and liking people who we truly believe have similar values and beliefs and attitudes like we do. Well, if we believe somebody has similar attitudes, values, and beliefs, we're going to perceive that as being rewarded more so. And thus, we're going to continue to pursue the relationship. Now, notice Byrne said, and the way I wrote it, if we believe that the other person has similar values and beliefs. Again, think initially of meeting somebody. We always put our best foot forward when we're creating a new friendship or relationship, and we probably think of this even more with romantic relationships, but with friendships too. You know, we want to put ourselves in the best light. Otherwise, we're not going to be liked, or we don't believe we're going to be liked. So in putting our best foot forward, so to speak, we're on our best behavior. This creates sometimes a false perception of who we are, because we're never truly who we say we are or who we purport to be in the beginning, whether it's a friendship or romantic relationship, right? It takes time to get to know somebody. Again, think of this in Tom Cruise's pursuant relationship with Dustin Hoffman, with Charlie Babbitt pursuing his brother Raymond Babbitt. What reward is he seeking? Does he really start to believe that their attitudes and values and beliefs are more similar? Because Byrne predicted this, and he tested his theory, and the theory checked out, that this really was true in behavioral studies that he conducted. The crux of reinforcement theories is that we like people who reward us, we dislike people who don't. Okay, so keep that in mind. Byrne and Clore's reinforcement effect model basically champions this. And even goes a step further and says that, you know, we absolutely will feel more rewarded, thus pursue the relationship or friendship, if we feel that their attitudes are more similar, just like ours. Okay? Now, the second reinforcement theory is Lot and Lot's reinforcement theory. And it's basically the same thing, but they add a twist. I'm so sorry. Excuse me. They add a twist, and the twist is kind of complex. This is something I'll probably go over Thursday in class. Excuse me. My throat's getting really, really dry. I'm probably going to be hoarse tomorrow and Thursday. Lot and Lot have an interesting twist on this, and this is confusing. So I'll try to explain this the best way I can. And maybe you'll have to kind of pause and rewind this segment and read this through, or view me through a couple times. In one way, I'm actually glad I'm doing this on video versus in class, because I know I get interrupted. People would ask a lot of questions, which is not bad. But these theories are kind of complex, and maybe it's just better if I try to explain them in several different ways. Even though it draws it out and makes it longer, when you view these, hopefully it'll make more sense than when we meet back together in class. Okay, again, back to slide, let's see, 16. This is 17. Lot and Lot's reinforcement theory says, yes, we will absolutely like people more and want to develop a friendship or relationship more with people that we believe reward us and not people who punish us. Again, children get this. But what they added was, we like people who reward us, and sometimes we even like people more if a behavior is reinforced in front of somebody else, in their presence. Even if they're not the one rewarding us, we will like them more. Okay? So, well, let's do the example first, and then I can try to re-explain it. 9:18. Slide 19. If you printed this out in 9s, this would be the third page. In 9 slides, this would be the third page. Slide 19. I used an example from Friends because most people have seen the show Friends. They at least know who some of the characters are. If you don't, at least kind of try to know these people, at least these names. But if you did watch Friends for any length of time, okay, you know that there are some characters called Chandler, Monica, Rachel, Ross, Joey, and Phoebe. Okay? Alright. During some of the episodes a lot of the episodes when Rachel and Ross were not together, sometimes Chandler and Monica would set Rachel up. Chandler and Monica actually became a couple in the last couple of seasons, or I think halfway through. I think there were 8 or 9 years that the show ran, and I think by the maybe 5th season or so, Monica and Chandler were a couple. Okay, so let's say Chandler and Monica set Rachel up on a blind date with one of their friends, okay, because they want Rachel to be happy, romantically happy, and so they take her out. Let's say that during the course of dinner, they want to make Rachel look really good, right? And so they compliment Rachel in the course of dinner, in the course of conversation. And these would be considered rewards, right? Complimenting someone is certainly a way to increase relationship or friendship. Even if they've been friends for years, it can only be a good, positive reward thing if someone says, "Oh, I like your hair," or "Oh, that's a great handbag," or "Oh, I like your shirt," or, "Oh, your hat." Whatever it is, whatever they're complimenting, that's a reward. I don't think there's a single soul out there who doesn't take some sort of satisfaction being complimented. We might blush, we might brush it off, especially if they compliment our looks or our appearance. But deep down, we'd much rather have, unless you're a sadist, or masochist, we'd much rather have somebody say good things versus bad things. So again, let's take the dinner scenario. Monica and Chandler say nice things about Rachel in front of this prospective boyfriend. Things like, "Rachel, oh, congratulations on your new job. Hey, Rach, your hair looks great. Rachel, what were you saying about that promotion?" Things like that they say in the course of dinner. Those are rewards. What Lot and Lot said was, they took reinforcement theory a big step further, and they said, normally, Rachel would be more attracted to this fellow if the fellow were the one complimenting her and saying nice things to her, and she perceiving that they had similar attitudes and so forth, that she would be more attracted to him, versus if he weren't saying nice things, okay, or whatever. She would be more attracted. But Lot and Lot said, hey, let's take this a step further. Let's predict that Rachel's going to be more attracted to this guy, even if this guy keeps his mouth shut and Monica and Chandler compliment her. That's what it means by being rewarded in someone's presence. She is, quote unquote, being rewarded in this new guy's presence, even though she's being rewarded, being complimented and congratulated by two other people, Monica and Chandler, they predicted that she would still have greater attraction feelings for this fellow. And some of that probably is because of her positive attitude, feeling good about herself, because she is hearing good things. But the idea is that sort of she's attributing them to this fellow just because she's in his presence, even though he didn't say anything. Does that make sense? He's kind of the innocent bystander who's kind of reaping the benefits because, guilty by association. Well, he's rewarded by association because he's getting basically Rachel to like him, even though he's not the one complimenting her. Other people are. Lot tested this, and they found that this is true. Research shows that this really is true. So I guess for those of you, maybe if you're pursuing a romantic relationship, here's a trick. Get set up by two of your friends. Get them to set you up with the person that you like, and get them to say nice things to you during dinner, during coffee, during drinking adult beverages or whatever it is, hanging out. Say a lot of good things, complimentary things, favorable things to the person, and to you, in front of you, and chances are that prospective, dating partner, romantic partner, is going to like you. Or at least there's a better chance of that. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I know it's kind of complex. Basic reinforcement theory from Byrne and Clore says that we will be attracted to and like somebody if they reward us, and we'll be less attracted and not like somebody if we're punished. But Lot and Lot go a step further, and they say, hey, you know what? Goodness gracious, doesn't even have to be that person complimenting you, rewarding you. It can be other people. As long as you're there in their presence, there's a stronger chance because they're being reinforced, not by the prospective dating partner or friend. They're being reinforced just by other people, but it doesn't matter. That individual's still going to have a greater chance of liking you. Okay, so I tried to say that the two reinforcement theories in several different ways. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm going to stop here, and then I'll come back with the two last social exchange theories. We've talked about social penetration theory, which is a social exchange theory. Social exchange meaning weighing the cost versus reaping the rewards out of a relationship. Just like a business. If you're not getting profits, at the end of several years, and you're spending more than what you're making, your business is going to go under. Compare that to your friendship or relationship. Social penetration theory says it's based on self-disclosure and how we get closer to somebody else. The last two social exchange theories we're going to talk about when I come back. Okay? Thank you.